we toy around with ChatGPT every once in a while. We had a good conversation on the listserv, as a matter of fact, over the last couple of weeks about how each of us are using AI. Our speaker today is not just someone, though, who uses AI in his business. Larry is a trainer, consultant, and developer at Automation Captain, which is an AI automation agency, and it's renowned for streamlining business process, driving innovation. We've got a real AI expert on the line here, but he also is CEO of NetGalaxy Holdings, which is more in the real estate and investment and development field. He is also a certified professional development trainer for the Table Group's 6 Types of Working Genius model, where he helps individuals and teams harness their unique gifts to achieve greater collaboration, productivity, and fulfillment. Then, beyond his professional endeavors, he's also the executive director of the Larry and Rebecca Collette Foundation, which is a 501(c)(3) committed to fostering leadership, education, and faith-based initiatives globally. I'm convinced that Larry has used AI to clone himself in order to be able to do all of these things, but he'll tell you more about that. So, Larry, no further ado, thanks for coming on and sharing this expertise with us. I'm going to let you have it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate y'all allowing me to come into your room virtually. I'm gonna share my screen and see if this works. Do y'all see the screen on your screen?
Yes, we do.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, I've got so much to talk about. As I was joking earlier with Patrick, I'm like the wedding singer when it comes to AI. You give me a microphone, I'll talk all day. But I know that I've only got about 40 minutes to talk about AI. And so here's an agenda of what we'll talk about, and we'll jump through it rather quickly. We'll save the end for questions. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get through some of the questions that you may already have, but this is what we'll talk about. We'll go really about understanding AI, what it is, how it works, and how to get started for those that may not be venturing into AI. I'll talk a little bit about mastering AI communications and really dive into the essential ingredients of a good prompt. And then we'll open it up for discussion after that. Briefly, I'll just share a little bit about me. I am a lifelong learner. I tell everybody, bless my wife's heart, because I'm constantly venturing into something. I have invested in companies, various different companies. I had a tech company for about 9.5 years in downtown Charleston, and right before COVID, successfully exited and sold the company and had a 4-year non-compete. So I really didn't get to chat much about technology during this 4-year period, but I spent that time continuing to learn. And so when AI came out, it was really a natural progression into this new technology. Even though AI has been around since 1956, it is relatively new in this peak that AI has emerged in. And so I spent that time and really studied that, and then started the Larry Collette Consulting Group, along with Automation Captain, and then a new company called Collettee, which we leverage AI and data to build intelligence. And so with all that said, I'm going to jump right in and throw a little throwback. How many people, by just a show of hands, recognize this logo? Yeah, pretty familiar logo. I wanted to start this conversation by really talking about Blockbuster. And so I'll share that it was the year 2000, and Blockbuster reigned as the undisputed king of movie rentals. So you were probably one of those millions of eager customers that poured into their neighborhood stores, fueling an astounding $8.7 billion in revenue and raking in $1.4 billion in profits. But suddenly, a little startup called Netflix introduced a new concept, DVD rentals by mail with no late fees. And so the idea quickly caught on, and Netflix's CEO, Reed Hastings, saw an opportunity. So he proposed a modest offer to John Antioco, Blockbuster CEO, buy Netflix for $50 million. Now, that was a mere 0.6% of Blockbuster's annual revenue. And in one of the biggest strategic misses in business history, Antioco declined. At the time, Antioco was confident in Blockbuster's business model: physical brick and mortar stores, customer foot traffic, and penalizing customers with late fees. This model had created a multi-billion-dollar company, so why shift to DVD by mail and eliminate late fees? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Well, however, as Netflix and Redbox gained traction, Antioco began to realize that Blockbuster was a ticking time bomb. He had failed to account for two critical factors with their strategy. One, a growing demand for convenience, and two, the potential of streaming technologies. If Blockbuster wanted to remain the industry leader and maintain a competitive edge, it would have to shift its business model. So Antioco proposed two strategic investments. One, a $200 million investment to create Blockbuster Online, its own streaming service, and another $200 million to eliminate late fees, aligning the company's interest with its customers. But it was too late. Viacom decided to sell all their shares, and since they owned 80% of the stock, a window opened, and activist investor Carl Icahn gobbled up the shares, only caring about quick returns. He pushed to cancel the streaming platform and reinstate late fees. So this led to a power struggle that resulted in Icahn taking over the board, Antioco leaving, and Jim Keyes assuming control. Icahn got his wish, streaming was canceled, late fees were back, but by 2010, Blockbuster was dead. So reflecting on Blockbuster's downfall, Antioco admitted, if our online strategy had not been essentially abandoned, Blockbuster Online would have 10 million subscribers today. They'd be rivaling Netflix for leadership in the internet downloading business. So the question is, what if Antioco had embraced change and innovation back in 2000? What if he had bought Netflix for $50 million or questioned his biases and assumptions about the defensibility of their business model? Would Blockbuster still be the king of movie rentals? We'll never know. But what we do know is that decisions you make determine yours and/or your company's fate and define its future. When done well, they help your company leapfrog the competition and build a sustainable competitive advantage. When done poorly, they could lead to bankruptcy. So the difference between growing your business or going out of business lies in your ability to think strategically. So the question is, how do you make faster, smarter decisions so you don't become the next Blockbuster? And that's what I'm hoping this next 30 minutes we'll be able to talk about and share. So all that to say, what is AI? Now, I'm sure everybody has had the opportunity to play around with AI, and more so, we're playing around with the generative side of AI. But this is about as technical as I'm going to get when it comes to AI. So AI, the definition is it's a technology. So we got to remember that and get behind that it is still a technology that enables computers and machines to perform tasks that usually require human intelligence, such as learning from experiences, solving complex problems, and making decisions. So think of it as a powerful tool that augments human potential by automating intelligent behavior. And one thing that I want y'all to really get behind is that AI or generative AI is your thought partner. You are the leader. You are the ones that's driving this vehicle. So you always want to make sure that you stay in the driver's seat, but lean into AI as your thought partner on everything that you do. One of the things that I start my day with is, and we probably all do as we're drinking our coffee, is what task or what things do I need to accomplish today? And if you slightly change your vocabulary just a bit and just say, what can AI help me accomplish today? You'll be able to really lean into AI, and you'll be surprised at how fast, efficient, and productive you can do those tasks and processes. So how does AI work? And again, we're kind of really talking about the generative side of AI. I'll talk a little bit about what AI is, a little bit more in depth, and the various different types of AI. But really, AI, how it works is AI operates through a very straightforward process. It's input going in, there's processing, and then there's output. So data enters the system, that's the input. The AI model is going to process it and then produces an answer, the output. Then it learns from feedback to deliver better results. And so it kind of continues that loop. And so when you're working with generative AI, you're entering information into the system, it's processing it, and unlike us humans, it's processing it in milliseconds. And then it's producing an output in the format of what you're looking for. Everything that you do, whether you're using the front side of AI, so you're logging into ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini, and there's Anthropic, Claude, and a couple of others, they're all measured really in tokens. And so tokens is this universal unit for measuring the data. So unlike a calculator, AI learns from the vast amounts of data it is trained on and continuously improving its answers. Today, AI is at the worst it's ever going to be. Okay, so think about that. It's going to continuously get better. But one thing that AI is going to do is it's going to evolve at such a rapid rate. Over the last 4 months, AI has evolved 100x just in 4 months. Okay. So one of the big questions that a lot of my clients are asking, as well as when I'm at conferences and events, is do we build it or do we buy it? And sometimes the challenge is if we build it today, 4 months from now, it's already outdated. And so in this wild west of all these companies jumping into AI and building things, we've got to kind of really take those that cautious step to decide where are they going to be in 4 months, 6 months, 12 months from now. And so a lot of the individuals and leaders that are out there are choosing to buy it. They're holding on building just to see what's going to happen, who's going to rise to the top, who's not going to make it, who's not going to be able to develop and refine the process as quickly as AI is evolving. Companies are putting billions of dollars into this technology. And so a lot of leaders are tending to stay with the big companies, such as Amazon, Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, those companies, and they're just buying the service. And that's potentially what each of you are doing. You've got your account with ChatGPT, you've got your pro account with Gemini, and we're just buying the service until we're ready to start building. So there are various different types of AI. So very much like the Russian nesting doll, AI is that big technology, but then everything is starting to fall under AI. And so what we're using as ChatGPT, as you can see, that's a generative AI. It uses machine learning. So machine learning is AI, but then there's deep learning and there's generative AI. There's large language models, and then this technology that's really not prevalent everywhere, which is the AGI, or artificial general intelligence. That's going to be where we're going to start seeing the robots moving around and having those conversations. But just think of generative AI as a language model, okay, a large language model. So you'll hear me talk about a language model, but as it continues to grow in data, it becomes just a large language model. And so it's just a bunch of data in there generating information based on what you're asking it, and then outputting it in the format that you're expecting it to come out as. But AI is in everyday life. We're using it today, whether we know it or not. So virtual assistants such as Siri and Alexa, they use natural language processing to help users manage tasks such as setting reminders, playing music, controlling smart devices. We're having that conversation, that natural conversation with Siri and Alexa. And if you are like me, or were like me just a year or so ago, I may just ask Siri a short, simple question. I'm not having a conversation 2 years ago. But today, you can actually have that back and forth conversation and really get the information that you need. Recommendation systems such as Netflix and Amazon. If you've ever hopped on your Netflix and they're recommending movies to watch or shows to watch, that's AI behind the scenes doing that. When you buy something on Amazon and now they're recommending items for you, it may not necessarily be the same item that you're buying, but items that may complement the particular product that you did. And that's AI powered behind it. If I can get my wife to stay off my Netflix account, I won't have all these Hallmark shows that are on there. But smart devices as well, smart home devices. So if you've got a thermostat that's a smart thermostat, that's using AI behind the scenes to learn our preferences and automate functions. And I see that Eleanor's in the room or in the waiting room. I'm going to go ahead and let Eleanor in. So she just popped up on the screen. So sorry about that. And then autonomous vehicles. So we're starting to see a lot more. I believe I saw Waymo in the news this morning about a particular news story, and that's AI driven. Google has Street View, which is using vehicles, autonomous vehicles to go out. And of course, this small company called Tesla that is also using AI. And so it really is all around us. We've been using it for a while, but really over the last year to 18 months, it's really started to emerge. And now it's becoming common for us to lean into it a little bit more. So 3 ways that AI can bring value. One is increasing productivity. So employees leveraging AI, leaning into AI to move quicker, smarter, and perform tasks relatively easy with not much human input, as long as we've perfected that process. And I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But then also improving operational efficiency. So the two top things there that AI really does well is increase productivity and increase efficiency. My companies, we're in the business for efficiency. And so we want to go in there, but what are we looking for? We're looking for the outcome. We want an efficient and productive outcome, and AI does bring value to that. And then also we're starting to see, as one of the gentlemen on this call has created a product or a service, an AI agent that's going to be able to perform things. Karen talked about the Granalytics, I believe is what that was. And that is really bringing value to each of us and users. And so just keep in mind those 3 things. One thing I failed to mention at the beginning is I will share this slide deck with one of the leaders. So for those that are frantically writing down, you can put your pen down if you need to. This will be made available for you. So I want to debunk a couple of AI myths. One, we hear it all the time, and we're seeing it in the news, whether they're saying that AI is directly replacing a job, that's a myth, okay? AI will automates tasks, allowing humans to focus on more strategic roles. For each of us, by leveraging AI as your thought partner, you'll be able to make more informed decisions in a fraction of the time. You'll be able to be more productive, more efficient, which in turn will free you up to focus on higher level strategic task thinking and leadership. All of us fall victim to putting probably too much on our plate. But by leaning into AI and allowing AI to be our thought partner and also automate some processes, we're able to take a lot of, and tends to be 80% of the repetitive and mundane tasks off our plate so we can focus on the 20% high impact priorities that operate our business. And that's what AI can do. So while AI may replace some jobs, it's not going to replace all jobs. Okay. It's going to augment the work that we do to make us better. But we also want to get into it. We want to start. A lot of people think a myth too is that AI is too complex for business. And maybe in yesteryear it was, but today there's so many accessible tools making AI implementation feasible for all. If you've heard of the website, there's an AI for that. That's a website that's out there that you can just Google, there's an AI for that. And there are so many tools that are out there that it's just a directory of all the available tools. And they'll rate it and give a description of what that tool is. I caution you on all the tools that are out there because some won't be around in 12 months. Okay, they're jumping on this bandwagon, but they're not going to be able to keep up with the rate that AI is evolving. And so just look at the tools and listen to some of your peers in what's working and what's not. And then also a third myth is AI is unreliable. With proper training, AI systems are highly accurate and very dependable, but they're trained on the data that is being input in. And so we want to make sure that what we're asking AI to do, one, we're never taking the first iteration of what AI provides. And in having conversations with leaders, I have heard that some will take it and they're like, wow, this is so great. Let me grab it, put it out there. And then they're realizing that there were mistakes in it. And so you want to make sure that what you're using, what you're training AI on, is the information that your output and outcome is supposed to be. So I should have asked this at the beginning, but who knows what the GPT stands for in ChatGPT? Now, nobody hop on Google and start looking it up right now, all right? Well, I'll tell you this, for those that don't know, it stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, okay? So Patrick, it's not this transformer, all right? That's a whole different transformer. But what generative pre-trained transformer means is it's generating content that's been pre-trained and it's transforming it into the outcome or output that you're wanting it to be. And so you'll hear me early on when I was traveling and speaking at conferences, I was using the term chat GPT because it has GPT in it. But now, today, with some of the other companies that have emerged, I don't use the term chat GPT anymore because I don't want anyone to misconceive that I'm pushing OpenAI because on any given week, one of the models can be better than the other. Okay, so I encourage you to try all of them, but you'll hear me use the term GPT. Copilot, Microsoft Copilot is a GPT. Gemini is a GPT. It's all generative pre-trained transformer. And so you'll hear me just use the term GPT. Okay, and so it's an AI-driven conversational agent designed to engage in natural language dialogues with users. Okay, and we're all probably using a GPT already, and we're having comfortable conversations with it. Okay, it's an advanced language model. So you remember earlier when I was sharing that what it is. So ChatGPT was developed by OpenAI, but Gemini, if you were to ask about Gemini today, it is slowly building into a contender. 30% of users just in the past week have now jumped on Gemini compared to 6% increase with OpenAI. But why? Because Gemini is really diving into the image generation with their Nano Banana. They just came out with Gemini 3.0 or Gemini 3. And so you're now able to create quality imaging with Gemini and Nano Banana and videos as well. So OpenAI has Sora, Gemini has Nano Banana, and they're really fighting for that market. I don't know if y'all remember just, I mean, really earlier this year, you can generate an image in a GPT and it may have three eyeballs on it. It was not as good as just a few months later. So I want to talk about mastering AI because really the everything with generative AI is all about the prompt. And unlike Google, and Google became that household name where we can just hop onto Google, we can enter in a couple of words, and we get something back. GPTs are not like Google. You want to really put a good prompt in it because what you put in is what you're going to get out. So garbage in, garbage out. If you're not detailed with the prompt, then you're not going to get everything that you want out of it. Okay, and I share that it's very much like an intern. Okay, you've brought an intern into your operation. It's one GPT intern is the smartest intern you'll ever have. It's been trained on millions and billions of data. Okay, but if you just hand that intern a stack of 50 or 60 pieces of paper and say, go do this report and give that to me next week, that intern's going to go, I don't know really where to start. What am I supposed to do? And so what you want to do is you want to provide the right ingredients for that instructions to your intern or for your GPT. Very much like a recipe. If you put the wrong season in or you put the wrong ingredient, you're going to get something that's not as flavorful, not as good, and chances are you may toss it out. And so, what are those essential ingredients? Well, one is you got to describe the task. Okay, that's number one. Just like when delegating to your team or to the intern, you describe very clearly what the task is, what you want that output to be. But then also give some context to it, okay? What's up in your brain? You have the information, okay? AI can process large amounts of data, but it doesn't have your human context, okay? So to fully harness the power of AI, give it the necessary context so you can put itself in your shoes and go to work for you. Okay, so my prompts are paragraphs of information, but by putting in paragraphs of information, I'm getting very close to 100% of the output of what I'm needing. Okay, if I put one or two sentences in, it's not going to have everything. And then most importantly, of these seven ingredients is adding a persona. A lot of us fall victim to missing this one ingredient. And so by assigning a persona to it, I want you to act as a board member, or I want you to act as a CFO of a credit union and then do this. Okay, what you've done is you've narrowed the data down, and now the output, the outcome of what you're getting out of a GPT is based on that CFO. Whereas I don't want you to do this task as a social media marketing expert or a landscape architect. I need you to act as a CFO. Okay, and then do these, and then specify what those requirements are. Okay, tell AI how you want it to complete the task. Do you want it to respond in a certain tone? Do you want it to respond in a bulleted list or numbered list? Do I need it in an Excel document format or maybe in code format? So make sure you specify those requirements and then establish limits. Okay, what do you want to avoid doing? Okay, such as maybe laying off people. So I need you to act as a CFO and give me insight based on the strategic document that I've now uploaded and tell me how I can increase revenue by 10%, but cut expenses by 3%, but do not recommend laying people off. Okay, so now you're setting that limit, a guardrail you're putting in. And then also explain why. Okay, don't trust AI. Okay, right at the gate is whatever that output is, you are the human in the loop. You need to validate that information that is being output to you. And you can ask AI, generative AI, a GPT, to explain why. Why are you telling me this information? And also cite your resources. Ask GPT, tell me why you're telling me this. Why does this work? But also, where did you get this data? Okay. So now you're asking AI to back up what it's telling you. And then you can ask AI to interview you. Okay. So a lot of times when I'm engaging with a GPT, I'm going to feed it as much of the context that I feel I have in my head. But then I'm also going to share if I did not provide enough information to you, ask me questions. But here's the important part, ask me questions one question at a time. If not, you're going to get 40 questions right at the gate. Okay. And you're probably going to get up and walk away. But ask me one question at a time, and it's going to ask those questions. And then once it has enough information, now it's going to go do its work. Just like an intern may go, yes, I'll do this report for you, but I have a couple of questions. Sure, let's talk about it. And so make sure that your GPT is asking those questions. And the great thing about GPT is if it's going back and forth with you and there's a lot of questions, you can stop right there, walk away, and come back and start it later. And you pick up right where you left off. So here's a couple of prompts that I want to share. And again, the slide deck will be made available. So if you want to use AI as your thought partner, but don't know where to begin, here's a great prompt to start. I'm curious to explore using you as a strategic thought partner. I'd like you to interview me by asking one question at a time to identify a simple and valuable use case where you can help me clarify my thinking this week. Then continue interviewing me to help me clarify my thinking. Okay. Or if you need that light bulb moment, I would like you to act as a thought partner by asking me one question at a time. Here's the situation, then provide whatever that necessary context is. Here's what I'm trying to solve. And so insert wherever it is that you need help. Please help me think through this potential situations or solutions. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to share just 5 use cases and then we'll wrap this up, okay, and open it up to questions. So 5 use cases that you can actually use today. One is, as I talked about Blockbuster earlier, is use AI as your strategic thinking partner, okay? Like playing ping pong with a brilliant colleague. AI gives you the ability to communicate back and forth, challenge assumptions, offer new perspectives, and it helps you develop better solutions faster. Okay. So just like if you were to bring in, let's say you're hiring a new CFO, you could bring in 3 different CFOs and they're going to have a different perspective and they're going to have different input of what to share with you. Same thing with a GPT. Okay. One persona is the interviewer, that they act as that skilled journalist asking you the smart questions to uncover great ideas that you did not know you had. So ask it, assign that persona. I want you to act as an interviewer and then ask me questions. You may just have a new idea and you need somebody to discern with. GPT can do that. Or the communicator, a super smart assistant that turns complex ideas into super power or simple, powerful messages. I mean, I use GPTs for a lot of the marketing that I do. And then I tie in automation processes like Zapier or Make.com, and then I automate that process, eliminating the work that I have to actually do. I'm still the human in the loop. So I'm going to jump in, I'm going to look in, I'm going to approve, or I'm going to make some changes. And then a third persona is the challenger. I need a challenger in my world. I want AI or GPT to help me strategically plan things that I may think, and I tend to do that a lot. I think I have the smartest ideas in the world, but a challenger is going to challenge those ideas. And they're going to bring up some things that I may not be thinking about. They may poke holes into my arguments, but giving a different perspective for what I'm thinking, which then lets me think and continue that process. So use AI for strategic thinking. Use AI to make better decisions. Okay. Your decisions can make or break your business. Okay. As a AI business leader, one of your primary goals is to make better, faster decisions that drive sustainable business growth. Okay. So lean into AI for that. Let it help you make some of those decisions. Content creation. AI is 100% ready with content creation. Okay. We're using it today. A lot of marketing companies tend to be a little worried about this part of what AI can do. But what I say is don't be worried. Let AI augment your work so you can focus on the high impact priorities and let AI create this for you, or even just get the start. I'm terrible at content creation, so I lean into AI to give me the start and then I can finish it. Okay. And so, for example, this particular prompt, I just concluded a performance review with an employee. After writing the follow-up email, I realized it comes off as too harsh. Now, that's 100% me. I just write what's in my head, and sometimes I need AI to soften it up a little bit. Throw in a bless your heart or something like that into it. But I need it to be rewritten to be clear on expectations and maintain firm performance standards, but also be empathetic and softer so the employee receives it. At the end of the day, we're still human. And so we see something, especially in an email, that's unemotional. It just comes in and we may interpret it slightly different. Well, lean into GPT to help soften that. Lean into GPT. I need you to act as a social media marketing expert with 10 plus years experience and create a 30-day marketing campaign specifically for LinkedIn about XYZ. And within milliseconds, it's going to provide that 30-day campaign for you. Idea creation, okay? As Patrick had shared with the 6 types of working genius at the beginning, one of the stages of work is the ideation stage, okay? Lean into AI for that idea generation. You may have a simple idea, but then you don't know how to move past that. Let AI be your thought partner to come up with some additional ideas to really help grow what you're wanting to accomplish. And so it can create fresh, innovative ideas that you may not have even thought about. And so really lean into AI for idea generation. And then the last thing that I want to share is data. 100% of what AI can do is take data, convert it into that output of historical reports, but also forecasting. Okay, so we're just about wrapping up 2025. You have a lot of data for your business. Lean into AI to generate a forecast model for what 2026 looks like. Maybe AI can be your challenger, poke some holes in some of the things that maybe was achieved during 2025 that may not have generated the right results that you need. And it's going to create ideas for how you can perfect that in 2026. So whatever the data is that you have, AI can take it and put it into an output that you're wanting. I can tell you that this was months ago. I needed to take a number and transpose it with a period, like after the third number. So I was looking at GIS mapping, grabbing some tax map ideas or IDs, and I needed to transpose it. I hopped on Google and I said, how do I do this? And it went through so much information. I spent 30 minutes and I still couldn't get it right. I popped that into GPT and I said, here's the number I have. Here's what I want it to look like. How do I do it? And within milliseconds, it provided the formula that I had to just paste into Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. So it can do it really quickly because it's trained on that. Now, here's the AI marketplace. For those that are data people like me and love numbers, 2024 last year, the AI marketplace, people were spending about $148 billion on AI. Now, this number in 2025 is what was forecasted. I have a feeling we have surpassed this number, but you can see it's jumped. And over the past years, it has steadily climbed. Okay. So I can guarantee you that 2026 will be in the 400 to 500 billion mark. So AI is here. People, the big companies, Microsoft Gemini or Microsoft Google, OpenAI, they're spending money on this technology. And they're not spending this money on this technology for it to go away. They're spending money to make it better for us. And so we're going to be able to lean into it and capitalize on it. So I'll share the 20% of this conversation and then we can kind of open it up for questions. One is job displacement. Okay, one of the most addressed fears of AI that as AI advances, every job will inevitably change because both the skills required and the process we follow will evolve. Some positions will remain while others will be replaced. Not necessarily the person, but the position. Okay. If long as we are involved with AI, we're going to be useful to the company that we're with. 60% of the jobs today did not exist in 1940. Okay, so instead of resisting this shift, I encourage everyone to lean into it by focusing what's within your control. Building skills that are so valuable that they can serve you no matter where you go. Okay. Focus on that and lean into AI to help achieve that. Biases. Okay. AI, as I talked about, can provide information that we need to validate. Okay. AI models inherit biases from the data they've been trained on. So it's crucial to approach AI generated results with that critical eye and apply human judgment. We are always in the driver's seat. So we have to look at who trained this data, who trained this model to make sure that what it's delivering to us is accurate. You can build your own GPTs. Again, Patrick, Karen didn't give me 3 hours, 4 hours to talk about this, okay? So I'm trying to cram this into a short amount of time, but there are language models that you can install locally on your own computer. Meta has it, Llama. It's called Llama. You install it on your local computer, it's protected, but now it's your data. It's your model. You're training it solely on that. You can use OpenAI, Gemini, and Copilot to also train in the cloud. But you just got to take into account who trained that data. Where's that information coming from? Hallucinations. I didn't use the term hallucination in this earlier in this conversation, but AI can make things up. Okay. You probably never wrote something into a GPT and the GPT responded, my bad, I don't know what to say. It's trained to deliver something. Okay. Whether it's right or wrong, it's going to still deliver an answer. So what you want to do is always fact check AI responses and ask it to cite sources or explain its reasoning. You're the human, you're in the driver's seat. So make sure that what AI is giving you is 100% of what you need to use. The last thing we want to do is ask it to do something for us, and then we make it public and it's inaccurate information, or we're helping a client and we're guiding them in the wrong direction. Privacy. Public AI models can be trained on the data you input, so be cautious about sharing sensitive information. Okay. A lot of people may not know, but the settings in your GPT is training their model. So don't put your sensitive financial information in there or sensitive personal information in there because it can get out. Okay. So go into your settings, look at your privacy settings for whatever model you're looking at, and make sure you're not training their model with your data. Or when you're doing that, you can go into a privacy mode, a temporary mode, kind of like incognito in your Google browser. And now that information is solely yours. I'm sure everybody, before you used your GPT, read that long 28-page terms and conditions before you checked the box and accepted it. But you can also use a GPT to take those terms and conditions, feed it into a GPT, and ask it to act as a legal expert and identify the risk of what these terms and conditions are to me and what are you doing with my data and my privacy? Okay. And so now GPT can provide that executive summary, just a short brief of those terms and conditions that we don't really read. And then also craft a prompt that delivers results. Crafting effective prompts is like writing a recipe. The ingredients you include and the way you combine them directly impact the taste of the dish. So put information, put as much information as you can, because you will spend less time with that GPT if you put as much information into it to get a better response out. Advocating thought leadership, resist the temptation to outsource your thinking to AI, use it as your thought partner, but always maintain your role as the thought leader. And then end of the world. Everyone, there's many people that are talking about that AI will lead to the end of humanity. I'm not the expert on this, and I don't want to downplay their fears, but what I can say is I believe technology is not inherently good or bad. It's the people who harness it who determine the impact. It's up to us to act responsibly and ethically with this AI. So today's your wake-up call. AI is the future. Many companies will adopt it, including your competition. AI will enhance you, not replace you. AI will be a net benefit to us all, and big changes start with small actions. So start with a GPT. And then here's my contact information. Write it down. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer a question. Okay. So if you've got a question, you can email me and I will get back to you, or my AI me will get back to you, one of the two. So I know I kind of went really tight on time, but there was a lot of information, but I did want to open up to any questions that you may have. I'm happy to answer them. And if we don't get to your question today, email me and I will answer your question too. So Patrick, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Larry. Let's get to just one because Karen put this in the chat earlier, and it is 9:30. So let's just grab this one really quick. And that is, I think we all have this. How do you suggest we decide which GPT to use for our company? And I'm gonna add a layer to that. You've mentioned three over and over. We know them, right? Chat, OpenAI, Gemini, and Copilot. Sites like there's an AI for that, or Galaxy AI. Many of them are actually look like their own thing, but they're just building on the platform, on one of the three platforms you just mentioned. How do you know the difference, and how do you decide
Yeah.
what's appropriate for you?
I would say that the easiest answer to that question, Patrick, is look at your current tech stack. If you're a Microsoft company and you're using Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel, Copilot is a great option for you because one, it's integrated into your workspace. Same thing with Google. If you're a Google company and you're using Gmail and you're using Workspace, Gemini is a great opportunity for you. OpenAI is individual standalone, will still work with both of the platforms. But if you're wanting to do some of your AI work inside of your documents, I would go with either Microsoft or Google. I tend to use all of them. I keep them on my phone, so when I'm having a conversation, I can switch up. Depending on who is the leader that week, is who I may use for what my outcome is going to be. So I tend to use Gemini quite a bit for video production and image generation. OpenAI I use because I've been using it the longest. And so it knows me and it knows my information. But I know that was probably a very broad answer to your question. But to start, go with your workspace, what you're working with. If you want to develop code or build software, that's Anthropic. Claude is very good at that.
That's a great start to for us to think about it, and why not use multiple ones? I think that was a good one too. So keeping them all, don't force yourself just into one. They all do things maybe slightly differently. Larry, thank you. I know you've scratched the surface here, if that, on AI, but you gave us some things we hadn't thought of before. So thank you so much. I want to thank all of you for joining us on the program, and a reminder that February 9th, not 10th, is our next program. Same time, same channel, and we'll sharpen our facilitation skills. So thank you, everybody. We're going to ask the leadership team members to stay on for just a few minutes. Just got a couple of things to cover down.